All right. Well, hopefully this is working. This is my first live stream, so thank you for coming and bearing with me. Let's just dive right into it. Last couple weeks ago, I started trying to delve into Bootstrap 5 to kind of get an idea of how to use Sass better, because they use Sass to power up their CSS, and I want to be able to have those same kind of powers as I'm making my designs, my websites, things like that. And so I'm gonna try and lean on them. Let's reverse engineer some things and see where we're at. So all right, I am back kind of where we started last time. We've got our styles here, and I'm running the watch in with Sass right there in the terminal. So I'll just go ahead and leave that going in the background. But I want to go into mixins because they are super nice. And in fact, I want to show you this really fast. Nope. There we go. Hey, look at that. Okay. This, I wanted to show you, this is a gist on GitHub, and I will I'll leave a link to this in the description. But man, this totally changed everything for me with Bootstrap. I was actually, it's on Bootstrap 4, and then he's updated it to Bootstrap 5, and boy, when I found this, it totally changed my life. I was no longer just having to rely on throwing the Bootstrap classes in on every possible thing. It made my code so much easier to read. This is kind of where the magic is. It's just a kind of a cheat sheet of all of the mixins, the functions that are available. You can go through this, and we'll probably look at some similar things. But boy, like stuff like the breakpoints, that has been absolutely massive for me. I just have a snippet that says, hey, I want a column, and it just pops in, these includes, it has the column ready for me. I can just make those on my own classes, and it's been so nice. So anyway, back to here. This is our lovely site so far. And yeah, let's dive into it. Let's try and figure out what to do with these mixins here. So I have one. I pulled this one in from Bootstrap. It's from their gradients .scss file, and we've already got a card on there, and we can just throw in a mixin by doing the @include, and then you type in the name of the mixin. In this case, it would be gradient-radial. And so just to show you what this does, it has some default colors, so I'll just leave those there. Hit save, and then pop on over here and refresh, and you can see it's gone pretty dark. So I'm actually going to just hurry and add a height of like 500 pixels so that you can see that it is in fact a radial gradient. So if you look towards the middle, it's a little lighter. Towards the edges of the box, it's a little bit darker. So we know that it is working. So the cool thing is now I can see, hey, look, I can do an inner color, and then I can do the outer color. And so I could pass in something, very obvious, like red will be the inner, and then let's do blue for the outer color. Hit save, pop back over here, and you can see we've got this wonderful gradient. Red is in the inner circle, and then it turns into blue at the edges. So there's a cool, I just think that's already kind of cool to have this gradient radial just ready for me. I don't have to remember, how do you do the gradients again? It's kind of hard for me to remember this background image. Okay, radial gradient, you have to do, remember that circle is in there. It's a lot of complicated stuff that I don't want to have to use my brain to remember all of this. So it's awesome that we can build these little mixins to kind of put in styles, or even a bunch of styles all at once. So that's where I want to go with this. I want to say we've got these two cards here in my HTML already, and one has the contrast class on it, so we could do something that's a little bit different on just that one. But what if we just want to make a mix-in for cards? Like, this is going to be our cards from our design system, right? So let's do that. I'm gonna do a mix-in. So I'm gonna look at this mix-in that I've got down below. So at mixin, let's just call it cards, and open the parentheses here. I'm not sure what the parameters should be, so I'm just gonna go ahead and open up the curly braces and just put some styles in that I think would be worth it. So a card to me, let's just say it always has a border, right? That kind of makes sense. We'll do a border like 2 pixel solid, and then just like a gray color. And then let's see, we might want to, let's make this just a little bit darker just so that the contrast is clear on the stream. And then what else? Maybe some padding, right? Padding, we'll just do like 2 rem around everything. And then yeah, that's a pretty decent card, but maybe we do want like a super light background just to make it even more distinct. Let's go, sure, Azure. I don't know what that is. Azure. I don't know how that looks really. I can't really tell in this. So let's save this. Now we've got our mix-in for the cards, and now I can add it to our card class is what I'm thinking here. So we're going to do the include cards, and I don't actually know if you need the parentheses on there or not. Yeah, let's just save it and try it out here. So refresh, and hey, it's working. We've got our border. We've got this light blue kind of the Azure color that is the CSS color, and yeah, the padding's there and everything. And it I wrote it once, I put it in once, and now it is ready to go. That's just really nice. I don't think I've ever stopped to really like look at my CSS and create mix-ins where it's like, hello, I'm going to be using this 400 times, so I may as well make a mix-in. So it's like, this is the card. Like, I don't have to sit here and copy all 3 of these styles 20 times in, you know, this type of card and this type of card. Like, this is the base stuff that is always going to be there. So just make a mix-in. I'm so excited to kind of delve into this. And it's really basic, I know, but guess what? Sometimes when you're doing stuff at work all day, you just get in the habit of just, you know, hey, I just know the fast way to do this, which is just define each style. And this is going to be really, really nice. Okay. All right. So I'm actually super excited about this. Let's try one more mix-in where it's like, if there's a contrast. So okay, so we have a card with a class of contrast, so maybe that's where we kind of get into some of the more advanced stuff that I don't understand just yet. Maybe we can say contrast, I don't know, can you do like false? Yeah, I don't know, if more, or maybe like 0, and then like, because I know you can do stuff, let's see, I know you can do like if statements. So we're kind of turning into like, oh, null. Okay, so null. We're kind of turning in this into like a function, sort of, right? So we've got some logic. So let's do null. Oops. And then if, so at if contrast is null. Can we do that? How do we do this? If, okay, if contrast actually, then let's change the background color to like black or something, and then the color to white. Yeah, and then in here we can even nest it, right? Because we're in Sass. So with the contrast class on top of the card class, then let's do include cards with contrast. I don't know. Well, let's try this. I don't know what it's gonna do. I don't know how to tell it that it's not null. So, oh, actually, yeah, I probably don't need to define that. I probably just need to do like one. I don't know. Let's try it. Let's just do one. And then we're gonna switch over here and see. Oh, hey, it did work. It doesn't make any sense, but that actually worked, which is kind of super cool. So, okay, this is probably not the way to, because it doesn't make any sense to be like, okay, cards of one, like that doesn't make any sense to anybody trying to read something. But it does give us that, hey, we can do a variable that has something. So maybe the contrast is probably not a very good, just semantics, just bad words that I'm using here with like contrast, but maybe maybe contrast would be like a color instead. I don't know actually how to name this a better way, but at least for now we do know that mixins can contain logic, which I wasn't totally confident before. Luckily there was one in the same file I had open. And then also super cool that you can include different parameters. Okay, so maybe contrast. Yeah, I don't know. There's something to this, and I'm not going to waste your time trying to think about how to use this, but I think this is a really cool exploration that we've done so far. So now we know that we can group a bunch of styles, put them in a mixin, and then just include all of those at the style that we want. We can have logic, like I already said, inside of the mixin. We can set a variable to null and then just have it called somewhere. I wonder, actually, I mean, at least it would clean it up if we had something like this. I don't know, contrast is 1. It's just kind of bothering me that's okay. So it looks like that is still working, so you can at least explicitly call the variable. I'll have to look up a better way to unnullify a variable in Sass rather than just one, like a true false kind of a thing. I don't know that that's the best way to do it, but yeah, contrast, we can name this just so that it can be like, hey, we actually have contrast, I guess. Kind of like an opacity of 1 is 100% versus 0, which should be 0, and then 0.5 would be 50% opacity, kind of a thing. That's what I'm thinking along those lines anyway. So yeah, I think this is a good stopping point, just because this brings a lot of ideas, and I want to dive into them a little bit deeper when I'm a little bit. Yeah, I'll come up with some good use cases next time for you, so that we can really come up with some awesome mixins, functions, use those Sass superpowers that it brings to the table. But I hope this really helps you out with your work this next week. It certainly will be making an appearance in my own work. So yeah, thanks so much for joining me on this super short but my first live stream ever. Thank you so much for your support, really appreciate it, and I'll see you around on the next one.